Farm Basics is brought to you by the Liberty Link trait and Liberty herbicide from Bayer. The most reliable weed management solution, Liberty Link and Liberty herbicide are the link to efficient row crop production and sustainable weed management.
All right, it's fall, and there may be some questions that you have as you're driving by fields. One of those questions that I get a lot from non-farmers especially is, why do some farmers till their residue into the ground and others leave it on top?
Okay, there are many reasons here, but the number one reason is it speeds up the breakdown of that residue. Once the farmer puts that residue into the soil, he's also introducing a whole bunch of oxygen into the soil, and with all that microbial activity and that oxygen there, it burns that residue up much faster.
Another big reason that farmers will do tillage is they want to have a nice, even seed bed for next spring. So by doing that tillage, they no longer have the unevenness that all this residue presents, and they can have a consistent seed bed. So when they're putting their seeds in the ground, they're all facing exactly the same situation, and hopefully they get even emergence of their crop. And if they get even emergence, now the crop isn't competing against itself where one plant's bigger and shading out the other plant. They're all the same height, they're all coming up at the same time. That evenness of stand is a big thing.
When the farmer tills in his residue and in effect makes the ground black again, that soil warms much faster than soil that still has residue on top of it. Especially in the northern part of the country, this is a real big issue. If a farmer is going to go out there in an already short growing season and he has to delay planting a week or 2 weeks because he's got residue out there versus black soil, he just can't afford to do that. So that's the number one reason on many farms why they will till in their residue.
Okay, well, I think the number one reason for many farms is they're trying to fix problems. Maybe they had a disease issue in this year's corn. Like, let's just say, for example, Gauss's wilt, something that survives in the residue and could potentially impact next year's crop. So by doing tillage, they bury that residue, so now all that inoculum for the disease is not there on the soil surface, so they have a much lower chance of having that disease again next year. The other problem they may be trying to fix is compaction, or ruts they've left with tires in the spring if it was too wet, or in the fall if it was too wet. Either way, you've either packed the soil or if you get some ruts out there, by doing some tillage, you could fix both of those situations very quickly. So for a farmer, it may be about getting that soil back to normal, and the only way they can accomplish that is by tillage.
Darren mentioned burying diseases, but you can also bury insects. That was a big reason why our dad and our grandpa used to do a lot of tillage. It was to bury European corn borers or other insects way down deep in the ground. Hopefully then they would die and you'd have fewer incidents the next year.
Well, there are lots of reasons why farmers do tillage, and every farmer may have a slightly different reason. They're the same reasons that farmers would do no tillage, whether it's soil preservation or so on and so forth.
Well, the opposite reasons of why farmers would do no tillage. So yes, if you want the soil to stay cooler, you want to preserve more moisture, you want to reduce erosion. So just some different reasons why you would look at no tillage or very reduced tillage, but there are still a lot of farmers who do till, and we just wanted to explain to you today that there are a number of really good reasons why they do that.
Well, one reason we didn't talk about that farmers may want to till is controlling weeds like our Weed of the Week. Can you identify this week's weed?